What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the My Time Podcast. I am your host, Sunny Mai, and today I have a really special guest with me. Absolutely one of my favorite person in this office, Patrick Beltran. How you doing, man?
What's up, my man? I'm good. Thanks for having me, bro.
Of course, man.
I appreciate it.
I've been, wanting to do one with you too. It's definitely on my list of guests because I do have a guest list written out already. And you're actually one of the next person that I want to get on this podcast.
I'm glad I made it so early, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much for, offering too,
No, of course.
Awesome, man. Because I really want to bring you on today just to kind of learn more about your story. We talked a couple times, we've hung out outside of work, talk shop, talk about life, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, I kind of want to give the audience of the My Time Podcast, shout out to you guys are great, a chance to hear your story because I think it's super inspiring. And also, obviously you don't look like the typical realtor, man. So I want to see how you have one of the best conversion rate in this office.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do hear that a lot, As far as like the conversion rate thing goes, I think it goes all to just me trying to keep it 100 the whole time,
For sure.
I know a lot of people have like a work voice, if you will, I know you sometimes and I'm not talking about real estate in general, but just at other jobs I worked at, because I've worked at a ton of jobs.
Yeah.
You hear people, they'll talk to you like this, and they pick up the phone. Hi, thank you so much for calling.
Exactly.
This is Patrick Beltran. And I don't have
that.
I don't have a work voice,
So
I feel like because I'm 100% genuine and 100% me all the time, I feel like that helps. People have a BS meter, right? And I don't spit any BS.
right on, love that,
Yeah.
man. Well, tell me a little bit about, you touched on it a little bit. You worked a lot of jobs before real estate. What were some of those jobs?
Man, a lot of jobs. I had a lot of customer service type jobs in the food industry, not in the food industry, but I think that really helped me in real estate in general. But yeah, I started work, if we go way back, I started working when I was right around 16. I worked at Fuddruckers, was my first job.
What's that?
Fuddruckers,
No.
It's a burger joint. It was in Buena Park, right off of Beach and Orange Store. But Fuddruckers, they have, all kinds of cool stuff. They had 1-pound burgers. They had, buffalo patty burgers, ostrich patty burgers. It was a cool joint, man. It was a cool joint. But yeah, I started working real young and worked ever since. But I've worked as far as I've worked at Sunglass Hut. I've worked at GNC.
Dang.
I've worked at Home Depot.
Okay.
I've worked as at an alarm company, a home automation alarm company.
Oh, wow.
And probably the two jobs I've had the longest right before real estate has to be Paul's Place. Shout out Paul's Place. It's where I met my wife, Debbie.
Oh, shout out Debbie.
Yeah.
We'll clip that for Debbie.
Hell yeah. But yeah, no, Paul's Place I spent a lot of time at. I mean, it's real near and dear to my family's heart because, my mother-in-law's been there since the start of it. Debbie's been there, and since she was real small and just sitting in the booth, right? So I ended up being able to get, I had the pleasure of being adopted into the Paul's Place family with, my wife.
Yeah, we still got to go. We haven't gone yet.
We do got to go. Yet, I'm telling you. Talk to Debbie. She'll tell you the chili cheese fries are to die for.
Nice.
But besides Paul's Place, I mean, the second job that I've held the longest probably, and right before real estate, was undercover loss prevention. I did that at Target for a good amount of time.
Man, so you've had all kinds of jobs that's dealt with like customer service in some type of way, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of jobs that dealt with customer service in some type of way, so I know, I know how important it is and how you really right. You need to treat people the right way. And that's a general rule for life. You know what I mean? And that's something that did teach me as well. And I think doing the loss prevention at the tail end of working a quote unquote normal job, doing that loss prevention at the tail end took me away from customer service. It was pretty much opposite of customer service.
Right.
Because it was
very aggressive?
Very aggressive, very different. And that made me realize I can't do this forever.
Yeah.
You know, I like genuine conversation. I like being nice. You know, so let's get away from wrestling bad guys and go towards helping people.
Get into
again.
home
So,
ownership.
exactly.
Getting people into home ownership.
You know, that's why I'm
That's
here.
funny.
You know, getting back to something that actually feeds my soul
There you
versus
go.
trying to hurt other people's.
That's awesome, man. So how long you been in real estate now?
I've been in real estate. I just renewed, so I'm about 4 years now. Yeah, coming on my 5th.
And was Power your first office?
No, it was not.
Okay.
I actually started off on a team. Actually, shout out Ishmael Chavez Homes, now with the agency. Chavez is a cool man. But he definitely got my foot wet in the business of real estate, in the world of real estate, right? And he basically, you know, mentored me and taught me everything I knew to get everything started. And we were at a brokerage. I'm sure y'all heard of it, Century 21, right? But we were at a little Century 21 office in Fullerton. And it was a very welcoming place, a very family, you know, like it was like a tight-knit little family, and it was a cool place to start. And then after that, I found Power, and I really saw a big change in my business from there. It was just, you know, learning and then always elevating. And once I did finally find Power Real Estate Group, I really saw some of my business take off.
Right on, man. So what are some of your favorite things about Power that you don't see at any other brokerages or teams?
Oh, man, you know.
It's too many to count?
Like I said, really, it is too many to count. The atmosphere here is different.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure you know. It really is. You can talk. You can see a face that you've never met, never seen before, but then, you know, have the best conversation. And we're all here to win. You know, we're here to help each other, because at the end of the day, our goal is to service our clients the best. And so it's nice to have a group of people that are like-minded and have the same goal in mind. And so we help each other, which in turn helps our clients. And it's a great environment.
I couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah,
like,
it's a great environment.
I love the little crew that we have in Team Jeff 1, 2. You know, obviously you, from, you know, Calvin to Tiffany. Castillo, everyone, man.
Everyone, man.
Super awesome.
And, you know, and that's the biggest thing, too. I think probably one of my personal favorite parts about Power Real Estate Group is the fact that there is no, you have to look like this. You don't have to fit the, you know, quote unquote, like, stigma of what a realtor looks like. Yes, exactly. You know, I could stick my fingers through my plugs, how big they are, and that's something I used to hear, like, hey, those holes in your ears are too big, you know, or something. That's something I used to hear in the beginning of the industry, of getting into the industry. And also same thing with just wearing just super relaxed clothing. I mean, like I said,
tatted out too.
I'm telling you, like I said, my number one thing in my business of why I think I see the most success as a realtor for me is being able to be 100% me and being able to be 100, like I said, right? And if I'm putting on a suit and tie, it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's for the appearance. And I don't like that. I think I'm more confident and more comfortable if I am in my own skin. Yeah. And so that's what I am. I'm a realtor in my own skin.
So have you been like that since day one, or is that something you transitioned like through, you know, the 4 years of working as a realtor?
It was definitely a transition.
Okay.
You know,
so you started off suit and tie.
Exactly. Suit and tie. Always wore a coat, and I never had short sleeves. And I heat up quick. If anyone knows me, I sweat just sitting down. I get so hot. So that didn't work out for me. I wasn't always comfortable. You know? I love to dress up. Don't get me wrong. But it's not a daily for me. It's just, I'm not going to feel comfortable. But that is how I started off. That slowly evolved into wearing like athletic type polos with still like an Under Armour sleeve or something to cover the tattoos. Wow. I didn't have my nails done ever. I wore plugs that you couldn't see through. I wore solid, you know, it was all the little details. I really was like, oh, I got to cover this. I got to cover that. I got to cover this. Yeah. But all these, I got to cover this and that, were me masking who I truly am. Yeah. And so it just, you know.
And it did come up authentic for the client too, right? Even when you meet them.
Exactly. Like the BS meter I talked about. So I slowly transitioned into being more comfortable. And it's you know, I'm never going back.
So speaking of being authentic to clients, how do you think people receive it, or, you know, are they shocked, or would you even say there's even any reaction?
Definitely reaction. Sometimes. I wouldn't say all the time. You know, I think most of the reaction isn't from the clients. It's from other realtors, because
Okay.
you know, there's a lot of times where you
That's
are
interesting. Yeah.
out, you know, showing your clients properties. If you're assisting buyers, right, you're out showing properties, whether the property is having an open house or not. Sometimes the listing agent or the other agent is there. I've had times where I'm walking up with the family that I'm helping, and I'm always in front. I've got my card in hand,
Yeah.
and they still stop and say, who's the realtor? Or they'll ask, did you guys come with the realtor? And then I got to take an extra step forward and said, yes,
That's funny.
me, you know?
That's hilarious.
That's me. I'm the realtor.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I pretty much, I get more questions about it from other realtors, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, that's interesting because I think from kind of like with you, like I think anyone starting out here really, when they first come, I see they're all really like suit and tie.
Yeah.
Just to think that they have to look a certain way.
Yeah.
But as you like adjust yourself in the business, you know, there's so many different kinds of different realtors and different niches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially here in California too. Like we're so lucky
Yeah.
to live in California, and you know,
Yeah.
everyone's pretty much really, for the most part, really chill when we meet them. So it works out really well both ways.
Yeah, yeah. And to each their own, right? This is just how I end up feeling the most comfortable. Some people might be different. I mean, I know like if you're a police officer, you're not stepping, like you put on that police uniform and you're stepping into work. You're on duty, you know? Like sometimes you have to put on your realtor cap, and if putting a suit on makes you feel that way, then to each their own, like I said, by all means do that. For me, I need to be myself, but I also identify now as a realtor. I think before, when I was dressing up to look the part and trying to be professional, I think that specific time in my career, I had the most severe case of imposter syndrome, if you will, you know? Like I felt like I was just pretending to be a realtor, trying to get by. But now I know my stuff. But my number one thing is the clients, and if they feel that from me, then everything's good, because I just need to let them know that I am real. I do have your best interest in mind, and I'm gonna help you win. Like don't even trip. I'm gonna help you win. And I seen a video actually one time on Instagram. My wife sent it to me.
Yeah.
She pointed this out to me. It was about a doctor, and he looked like me, and he's talking about, as a consumer, if you see the doctor in the suit and the lab coat, and then you see a doctor dressed like me, who would you tend to work with? And on average, they would tend to work with the person with the suit and tie and the lab coat versus the person that's dressed like me. But what he also explains in that is, I had to work harder to get to where I'm at, looking the way I look, because I may not get taken seriously up front all the time, because it's like, wait, you're not what I expected as far as a realtor goes, right? But that shows that I really have to work my butt off to learn this craft and know what I'm doing, so I never steer you in the wrong way, so that you know I made it. You know what I mean? I'm here for a reason. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, even for the clients that do stick with you, right? Because you might not be for everyone.
Yeah.
But the people who are your clients, you know, who ride or die with you, like, I would say it's a very enjoyable experience working with those people, right?
Exactly. And like that, I'm never gonna force you to work with me. If my appearance or the way I talk, or if I'm too polite for you, I don't know. You know what I mean? If anything about me rubs you the wrong way and you don't want to work with me, then by all means, you're not forced to work with me. You know, and I think that also is what makes the families I do help and the people I do work with have that stronger bond, because at the end of the day, they are choosing to work with me. And I think that just, you know, makes the whole relationship in general just more strong.
Right on, man. I love it.
Yeah.
See, I told you, everyone's going to love you, man, coming on the show. But hey, let's talk a little bit about your production now.
Yeah.
So 4 years, on average, how many deals do you do a year?
Okay, so I mean, I've definitely increased every year, right? And like I said, I didn't find power right off the bat. I really saw an increase in my business once I found power. And so my first year, I did 4 transactions. Can't tell you the volume and number. I wasn't running my business as a business back then, which is something I'm learning at Power, right? So that's the best part about being here, is you really learn how to run your business as it is, a business. So with a whopping 4 transactions my first year, I actually closed out last year with combinations of all types of transactions. I closed out last year with 13 transactions, so 13 people that I've helped. And so that's in my fourth year, right? So from 4 transactions from the first year, 13 in the fourth year, I'm getting better and better every year, and it comes with me learning my craft, and my numbers are just going to keep getting better and better from here.
There you go.
I'm in this for the long haul, you know what I mean?
Me too.
You know what they say, slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady does win a race in this game, right?
Yeah.
Where does your business primarily focus on? Do you focus on a specific area, or you're pretty open?
I mean, as far as, are you talking about like working with buyers or sellers or?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I started out, really on the buy side. So a lot of the clients that I've helped initially have been buyers. And then now we're in this whole transition as an office too. So it's kind of been giving me the nudge that I needed to really feel more comfortable in my shoes of helping the sellers on the sell side. Yeah. But I'm at that point where I am. I do know the process. I do know what to do to get that done. And my business this year has been pretty much, a mix of both buy and sell. So that's really is, it's nice. The shift is nice because now I feel, like I said, it's just been, you never stop learning, right? So every year I'm just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I just, will only ever continue to feel more and more comfortable in what I'm doing. And it's pretty nice how even the buy and sell side has been.
That's
lately.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So when you first, joined Power, or really when you first had your momentum, what would you say is some of the best practices or contributing factors to helping you get momentum in this business?
You know what? Jeff says all the time, working works. And I don't think there's any better way to say it than working works. You can't get into, how people always say, I got into real estate to have more free time, and I ended up working 24/7.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's the reality of it. Just know you're going to have to put in the work, because at the end of the day, you're letting your clients down if you don't put in the work. You know what I mean? And so you don't want to let your clients down. You don't want to let your family down by not making a living.
Yep.
And so you have a lot of things that you need to keep up your end of the bargain for.
Exactly.
And so working works. As long as you put in the work, you're always gonna,
Man, so you're pretty busy, huh?
I mean, I stay pretty busy. Yeah, I definitely stay pretty busy.
And you're a family man at the same time. So how do you manage all of that?
That has been the biggest struggle. I feel like even in the beginning, it was always work-life balance. How do you do it? This and that, But after really dialing in like the time blocking, I kid you not, I probably tried every year I change my time blocking schedule maybe 2-3 times in the year, right? And I'm always changing it because I'm always in search of what feels the most appropriate, what fits the best, what's the most comfortable. And I'd say, honestly, probably just this year, and I know we're just finished first quarter, so we're only, a quarter into the year, but just this year I finally found what time blocking schedule has worked the best for me. And I say that my life is pretty damn balanced as of lately. So I have my routine for myself in the morning. I've got my routine for my work, so I make sure my clients get the attention they need. And then I've got my routine at the end of the day to spend time with my family, and I make sure every glass is full, and it's been working
awesome,
out. Man.
Yeah. So you make time because you are organized, right? You say, you're basically saying that you stay committed to your schedule.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the hardest part. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people with ADHD can relate, and it's hard to stick to something, right? And that's probably why I've always jumped around different schedules and thinking I'm looking for the right one, but really it was just hard to be consistent at keeping at that schedule specifically. So sometimes, it gets hard and I let time run me, but as long as I make sure I remember I'm my business owner, I can't let time run me. I have to run the time. Everything just gets easier. In hindsight, you end up getting stressed out because it's like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, and then I got to do this for my house, and I got to do this for my work, and it's all jumbled in your head at once.
But you feel cloudy and stuff, right?
If you take all that out of your mind, put it on paper, and follow your times that you're supposed to be doing things, it all falls into place. And like I said, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Like even though this year's schedule feels the best, we were just talking about it. I've been leaving out social media, and I feel like I'm letting my clients down by not giving them information through social media that I could be doing, but I didn't quite get that into my time blocking schedule, so it's just harder for me to get to. But I'm gonna adjust again and keep the things that are really working this year that are making it all feel complete.
Yeah.
Add that in there, and then it's just gonna get better and better.
I love it, man. So you're always adjusting and adapting, right? Just to improve your business, the efficiency, and all aspects of your business and life, really.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna ask you, kind of speaking on, like having a set schedule, staying disciplined. You're someone that's interesting because for someone like me, I love coming in the office down next to Calvin, George, all the Jose, and just being in that office environment, right? But you kind of took the hybrid approach because you do have an office from home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So would you say because you are such a friendly guy, you get really distracted here really easily?
I think you hit the nail on the head with that.
So be very self-aware. You're very self-aware.
Yeah. And so with my schedule, I'm coming here in the morning and I'm here for X amount of time, and I finish out my day working from my home office. And it really is. If I were to stay here all day, I know I'm gonna bounce around. Hey, what's up, Sonny? What are you doing right now? You know what I mean? It's just part of me,
Man.
So I definitely it helps keep my business in check if I separate myself and do work from home.
You don't find it distracting? Like, oh, I want to go give Todd a little pet, say what's up to Debbie.
It could be distracting, but there's actually something I've been working on trying as well. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think it's called like the Pomodoro technique. I heard it from Rob Dial Jr. I'm sure it's been around for a long time, but there's this podcast I listen to every morning called The Mindset Mentor.
Okay.
And it's nice. If you ever want to listen to it, it's a short podcast that's each, he puts out, I think about 4 episodes a week, I believe now. But most of the episodes are anywhere from like 15 to 25 minutes.
That's not that bad.
So it's an easy listen, and it's always good stuff. I've noticed that every morning when I do pull it up, he always ends up telling me what I needed to hear that day for some reason. And I don't know, everything always just aligns like that with that podcast for me. But it's a good listen. I digress. Okay, where was I going? Mindset Mentor podcast.
I don't know. We were talking about.
Lost my train of thought.
I think working from home, the hybrid part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pomodoro.
Easily. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, learn this from Rob Dial Jr.'s podcast, The Mindset Mentor. The Pomodoro technique. In a nutshell, it's really like giving yourself X amount of time to work, and then X amount of time to just take a breather from working, right? And that doesn't mean pick up your phone and scroll Instagram. It doesn't mean, plan what your next task is going to do. It's separating from that completely so you don't just get super lost in it, or you don't,
Right.
It's a way to stay productive. Because if you're at home, like you said, I could be working and then think, I wonder what my dog's doing. Let me go pet my dog. Oh, let me check the fridge. Oh, man, I forgot to take out the trash. Let me do that now. Yeah, trash is something you got to do, but I'm working. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't do that now. To keep me from doing all that kind of stuff at home, I keep a timer. I flip the timer to 30 minutes, and I focus on that one task for the 30 minutes straight. Then I give myself a 5-minute break from that. It's kind of like doing, what's it called? When you're working out the HIIT training, the high-intensity interval training, where you blast for X amount of time and then you rest for X amount of time. Same thing, but you're giving your brain a 5-minute rest in between every 30-minute set of working. And it helps me stay focused.
Yeah.
Because I know my timer hasn't gone off yet. Like, even if I have to use the bathroom, my timer hasn't gone off yet. Let me just wait for that timer to go off, then I'll go use the bathroom during that 5-minute, leisure period.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So you it helps you avoid burnout, right?
Exactly. That too. Yeah, that too. Because especially when I get hyper focused on something, I could just not do anything else, and I'm so zoned in on that, and then I end up like, okay, damn, I'm so tired now, but I have all this other stuff to do.
Yeah.
It helps me stay on top of my time blocking. It helps me avoid burnout, like you're saying. and it helps me just stay on task instead of trying to start. Because, you know, one of the things that he talks about, that Rob Dial Jr. talks about when he talks about using the Pomodoro technique, is it takes everyone X amount of time to get refocused. So even though you have 30 minutes of this work time to focus on this one task, it may take you 10 minutes to even really get that focus on that task. And if you're just always doing like 10 minutes of trying to get focused and then something breaks that focus and you do it, now you're wasting more time because you're coming back and you have to take another 10 minutes to slowly regain that focus, you know? I mean, I'm sure you've probably felt it, right? Like if you're like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make some calls. You sit down, you pick up the phone, and sometimes it's a little bit of a slow start, but once you're going,
Oh,
right?
flow, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like
so it
flow.
helps you keep that flow rather than constantly breaking the flow and having to keep getting back into it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that you're basically very self-aware of who you are, and then you build your environment purposely, you know, to help, you know,
work for me.
Yeah, work for you.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because you're like, you know, I don't have to be in the office, you know, like everyone else. I know I'm more productive at home, so let me set up this home workspace where I can be like most efficient. Right?
And don't get me
wrong.
I've
seen his setup. It's really sick. I love your setup, man. All those screens on those desks, the standing desks too.
I appreciate it.
Come on now.
I appreciate it, and it's simple. It's just my laptop's my hub. I don't have a desktop. My laptop's my hub that's connected to
all
the
those
other screens. And when I come to the office, I just gotta unplug and bring it with me. That's it.
Yeah, so what do you have? One's like a MLS, one's like a Slack.
Yeah,
like a
literally.
file,
I'll have like it helps me out too if I'm doing like writing offers is my favorite to have multiple screens.
Like one's MLS, one's like the off. Oh, dude,
exactly.
That's so helpful.
And then I've got the email up on the other side that I'm building, but. Or maybe I have the realist tax, so I have all the property information, the MLS, so I have all the agent's information, and then I have my actual offer, RPA up, so I'm filling that out while I have all the other stuff. If I ever need a copy and paste, it's there.
I'm hopping from tab to tab, man.
I'm telling you, tab hopping, it's like what Jose says all the time, Kaizen. It's getting 1% better all the time, and it's like if I'm grabbing this drink, but I also know I need this pen too, instead of grabbing the drink, taking the drink, and then grabbing the pen after, I can literally grab the drink and then the pen while I'm here, and then I take my drink, set it down, do what I'm doing. Either way, you know what I mean? Like it's these little things save you time in the grand spectrum.
Bro, you're hilarious.
You know what I mean?
Hey, well, thank you so much for sharing me a little bit about your, production and, your view of like your work-life balance, all those kind of aspects. Last thing I want to talk to you about, man, what do you think this market is heading? Where do you think rates are going to be?
Bro, that question, I know because it's a huge debate. Everyone's like saying one thing and then everyone's also saying another thing. But I do think based on the professionals I've talked to, because it's you just do with the information you got, right?
Yeah.
I do think that the rates are going to come down at some point this year. I don't think it's going to be super drastic. I know y'all are waiting for a 2 to 3% interest rate. Don't wait for that. Don't hold your breath. Probably not going to happen in our lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to that. We need another COVID, shutdown for that to happen, which we don't want that. You know what I mean? So I don't see rates coming significantly down, but will they come down? I think so. I think what our biggest problem, though, rates aside, because rates don't matter so much as long as you can afford the payment. I think our biggest issue that people should be concerned about is the low inventory.
Oh,
inventory's been low for...
Which contributes to the low affordability.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Pinches the prices.
Yeah, and low inventory's been low for as long as I can remember. Like I told you I started 4 years ago. I've been in it 4 years. If you do the math, I got my license in February of 2020, and the world shut down in March of 2020 for COVID. You remember?
Yeah.
So I had a month of learning real estate basically before I had to relearn real estate in a different way because of the shutdown. And it was just a wild time. But in general, I've seen since then, right after that, rates. Inventory has been super low, and it's been like that since. So in the past 2-3 years, it's been low inventory. That I don't know when
Probably
we'll see an end to, you know?
Yeah, because, they don't want to trade that 2-3%, right? Because
Exactly.
what's like the statistic is like 80% of homeowners have a rate lower than 6%.
Yeah, and that's because even if you bought 20, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe you bought at a 12% interest rate, but then a 7 came around, so you refinanced and got
And
a
then
7.
a 2 came
and
around.
then a 2 came around. So whether you bought a home a long time ago or you were new homeowner when the 2 to 3 interest rates are happening, that's still
Yeah.
large group of people who have the 2 to 3%. And so it's like, why am I going to sell my home just for a 7% interest rate, when I have a 2? So, yeah.
So I absolutely agree with what you said there. They're probably going to come down the rates at some point. But the bigger issue is, I think, like when, right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's almost like spring or summer now. Yesterday, the inflation report, Americans are still spending money, it looks like.
Yeah.
So inflation hasn't really come down. So the rate market, I'm not sure if you saw, but it jumped up a little bit.
Yeah,
So a 30-year today, I think, is like, 7.1, 7.2, so low sevens now. It used to be like, what, mid-6s not too long ago.
But I'm also not too concerned with that, excuse me, because it also used to be like 8 not too long ago, before it was...
Last October.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember.
Exactly.
And October was like, what, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
So from 6 months, we went from 8 to 6.5, now to 7. So it fluctuates hella.
It always fluctuates. So you can't look at, you can't look at that data, for me at least. In my mind, you can't really look at that data because it's too close together. You know what I mean? In the grand scope of things, like when you're looking at stocks, it's always shaking up and down.
But
when you look over time, it'll have a big, you know what I mean? So when's that bigger dip going to come? Like you said, who knows? But I'm pretty sure it's going to.
Awesome, man. Well, any last words for, home buyers this upcoming year, or tips for home buyers, or, tips for power agents for 2024?
Hey, man. Tips for buyers, get in there while the getting's good. Because, I feel like I say that all the time. But if you are planning to buy a home, do it sooner than later. And that's not a, hey, I want your business. Because use me or not, like I said, I'll keep it 100. Use me or not. But go and get a house. Because at the end of the day, you start building that equity, right? And you need to start building that equity. And you can't start building that equity if you don't own. So get with a mortgage professional. See if, what a monthly payment would look like for you. And if you can buy in the area you're looking to. And if those numbers make sense, do it. If they don't, ask the question of, okay, what can I do to make the numbers make sense so I know when I can buy? That's my tip for buyers. For sellers, sell. We have low inventory. Sell. Just do it. Yeah. For agents, just be you. Be true to yourself. Be true to the clients. Know that your client's best interest is always always has to be ahead of anyone else's, and you're gonna succeed in this business. As long as you're real and as long as you're honest, it'll happen. Power up. Be real broker, dog. What's up?
I love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Patrick, for being on the show today,
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you for coming. Dude, we have to do this again.
Bro, I'm down. I'm always down.
Yeah.
I got a lot to say. I'm a talker, bro.
Yeah, maybe
let me know.
So this is also my way of keeping myself accountable, right? Because I'm pumping now. This is, I think, the 5th episode. So it's just, I have to keep that momentum going, right? And keep adding on more episodes. And then today, we're going to sit down with Jose, John, audit the last couple episodes, see what we can improve on. You might be hopping on that Zoom as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing our future episodes, maybe reacting to this one or something like that, and see where we're at that point.
Yeah. Hey, if y'all are interested in seeing what I put out, I know Power. We got.
Hey, let them know where to find you, Patrick. Where can the people find you?
But if y'all are interested to see my content, I give some good tips and tricks. I mean, you heard it here first. It's patrickbeltran.realtor. Instagram handle is patrickbeltran.realtor.
I'll add it in the description.
Hit me
there
up.
You go. All right, power up. Thank you so much.
Power up.